Hey, Koala here, we're back. So, as I promised, we're back for SAnby buffs. So, SAnby just got buffed. It's the release of the patch. So, let's go and activate her potential. And then let's first, before we do anything with it, let's go first talk about what she actually got. So, one thing she got, for sure. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh my god, Proxy. Okay. Oh my. Okay, so first things first. What did she get? So the biggest one she got is she got actually 5% more damage. It seems. So Anby deals 25% more damage. It used to be 20%, I think. To Silver's marked with Silver Star. Pretty good. Okay, Aftershock crit damage bonus is further increased by 5% of Soldier Zero's Anby crit damage. That's also a buff right here. So this is a new buff. So her crit damage bonus from Silver Star is further increased by 5% of Soldier's Anby's crit damage, which is pretty much approximately 10% for the average SAnby player. This is like a, say, not really more like a 10% damage bonus, more like a 5% damage bonus because how crit damage bonus works. But it's a buff, right? And when affected with White Thunder is defeated, army unleashes special attack. As I mentioned before, this basically just means that as long as you have like 3 stats, or you have 1, 2, or 3, so 33, 66, or 99 points in the thing, if you kill the enemy, they will always smite a target nearby. As a result, there's no more risk of like, you know, you kill an enemy too early, you kill like a small tiny mob, and you lose all your stats, and you're like, oh whoops, I have no more damage. So that's a really good quality of life change. Next up, when another character in your squad is stunned or support character, Amy's crit increases by 10%. Okay, that's the same. Aftershock is 25% more damage. That's the same. Amy's chain attack and ultimate treated aftershock damage. This is a pretty big deal because before her ultimate is like pretty weak. It only really gave you full stats, and that's kind of it. It just did damage and gave you full stats. Now it does damage. It does even more damage. It's aftershock damage, and it benefits from all of this bonus. Right, and then also with Orphie, as I mentioned later, and it also gives you full stats. That's ridiculously good. So I'm pretty happy. This is actually a really good core change. It gives her more utility and more damage as a main DPS of the Aftershock archetype. So good. Okay, what's next? So I believe her skill also got changed. So the biggest one, in my opinion, here is that when the skill hits an enemy, it will consume 1 second right to trigger an aftershock that does 1 extra damage or electric damage. That is absolutely insane. So it does aftershock. It's considered aftershock now. So it scales with all the bonuses and Orphie and trigger and all that stuff. That's a little bit crazy. Okay, but the biggest one is that when I believe it's wait, is it? It's when the when an ally does the is it in her chat? Yeah, when a skill hits an enemy, no. When additional damage for triggers 3, like okay, that's trigger, fully slashes, just count aftershock. With enough injury to matter, it fully charged Silver Star. So okay, this is fine. And then there's one more. I cannot find it, but it's part of her, probably part of her basic or something like that. But one of her core skills that changed now. So if an ally hits somebody with an aftershock damage or aftershock hit, the biggest thing here, which is absolutely bonkers to me, is that it gives 33 points. So like how I mentioned 33, 66, 99, it gives you 1/3 of the main max charge. That's absolutely insane. That's insane charge potential. So like as I mentioned before, like the idea is like, you know, you have usually for most break phases, you usually only have like this like 10 to 20 days window where you're kind of not really doing much damage because you only unloaded your whole setup, right? What that 33% really means is now your character can actually get one more aftershock hit, sneak into that 20, so you can do 4 triple dashes in a single rotation. That's absolutely insane in my opinion, and I will show that when I do the live demonstration of what does Orphie look like after, what does SAnby's buff after her setup look like. On top of that, another thing that they don't mention here is, even though it's a hidden stat, is that the Aftershock, the White Thunder, have a little bit longer activation period. What it means is that before you had like about say a 0.25 to 0.5 second where you had to keep dashing. If you do not dash continuously within this half a second to 1/4 of a second, and you say you dash 2 times and you make a mistake, right? You basic attack and then you dash 1 more time, you actually don't get the final Thunder Smite because you didn't hit 3 times in a very quick tiny window. So they actually buffed that, which is actually really good. It just means it's a lot less punishing to play SAnby by making like a tiny error with like a click. So now you accidentally got stun locked out of a dash, you got you actually threw a base attack randomly and you couldn't cancel that. Oh whoops, then you kind of have an issue with like, oh, you're losing a lot of damage because this Thunder Smite is really important for the damage. Nets up. Nets up. Okay, the nets up. Well, and then we know how what did she would. Oh yeah, the nets up. Her basic. So her third basic now. Enemies will be continuously pulled in. This is a really good quality of life change, even though it's relatively minor now because of Orphie. So what Orphie has is Orphie, when you have max energy, which is when you're usually using her, she does this laser charge beam, and this laser charge beam has a pretty decent AoE. But what it does is it pulls enemy into the center. So now SAnby actually has that benefit, which is pretty nice. And then we can perform like all the. It basically means like when you start off a battle with in Xiaoyu, right? How Xiaoyu have starts usually for half the field. So it's usually how Xiaoyu set up now is one of the fields just a boss, and the other field is it's 2 waves, right? One little tiny mob wave and one boss wave. So what this means for SAnby now is that when she goes against boss waves or AoE based fights, so with all the little tiny mobs, what you do is that instead of starting the game with a skill, you base it 3 times. You group everyone together because your circular attack is grouping everyone up, and then you can press your skill. You can dash 1 or 2 times, and since you kill enemies at that point, you kill enemies in like 1 dash, it will start chaining to all the other enemies, which is absolutely insane to think about, right? Because of the buff to her skill, where any extra aftershock damage any extra white thunder stack would not be lost, and it will always proc to the next target or the closest target from that to the enemy who died. You can basically start chaining. You can basically kill 1, kill a second, and start chaining all these white thunders in a circle, which is so powerful. You can basically just absolutely obliterate AoE enemies. So that's actually ridiculously good, and I rate that because that basically means she's no longer weak in AoE. She used to be, in theory, before she used to be really weak into AoE because getting the skill right meant that you want to dash 3 times, but her dashes are also your target, and if you killed the enemy, you just wasted a little bit of time because the enemy just died and you lost like 2 thunder stats, right? So what it now means is that you use 2 thunder stats and now proc to another person. Maybe that person gets killed, and then now it procs to another person. And it changes, continues on and on and on until all 5 enemies in Xiaoyu die. Okay, now how am I going to think about this? And what's my opinion about that? My opinion about it is obviously SAnby. Before, as I showed before, her buffs in my video, I will have an analysis of the after buff once I have to play in live. She's ridiculously good with Orphie because Orphie's entire gimmick is that she can give attack buff, and she also gives a little bit of power to Aftershock base. So when you have Aftershock, you can extend the duration bit. So now SAnby has so many ways to count Aftershock. It's so easy to ignore an additional 25% defense because everything in her kit now knows 25% defense. That's incredibly strong because 25% defense sounds pretty good until you look at Trigger, and Trigger stacks another 25% defense. So SAnby now, every part of SAnby's skill ignores 50% defense. So except for her basics, that's pretty ridiculously strong now. Okay, anyways, let's go on to the live demonstration. So I'm going to do this live. It's much, I guess, more fun for you guys to hear what I have to say doing it live. So we're going to do Xiaoyu defense. No, we're going to do Deadly Assault. Same exact comp against Unknown Corruption Complex. So last time in the pre-buff SAnby for Unknown Corruption Complex, I got 45,753. Right, this is pretty good. This is pretty high for a buff. So in order to do this, so here's like before I go into it, I'll give you some tips for Unknown Corruption Combat. Unknown Corruption Combat is a boss that's all about damage and then all about non-anomaly damage. It's usually about crit, and you usually want to play something like electric. So I mean, of course, the electric weak, yeah, obviously, but also the electric is also pretty strong because the shock has a tendency to be able to stun the boss and be able to knock it out of its certain hits that are pretty hard to dodge. So its laser sweeping is a little bit hard to dodge, and that's just a thing that you can kind of get away with shock. Okay, agent restores 1000 decibels or 1000 dB, and then unnecessarily break the enemy. Like, this is pretty easy to do because once the enemy is broken, you get like 185% damage bonus. It's pretty easy to start blowing up the legs. Beforehand, it's a little bit hard, but if you play SAnby, it's like a really high single target DPS team like this, you can probably destroy the legs even outside. On top of that, you can also get one-sided disintegration up to 4. And when the boss gains one set, when the agent hits an enemy, for each side disintegration, the target has crit damage increased by 25%, so up to 100%. And sensory impairing gets 800 up to 5,000, which I think is a weird number, but I'm not going to question it. I think this should be like 1,000 something, so it's even, not so you don't get 4,800 and 5,000. Anyways, so for the team, for the buff you want, the best buff, of course, obviously is 1 or 2 attack agents give the whole squad 20-40% bonus damage, and then after triggering a critical hit, agent electric damage increases by 30%. If they attack, they gain an increased crit damage 40%. This just is really good with SAnby, and it's really good with Seed and all the characters in this game. Because both of these characters want crit, so Orphie and Seed. Trigger doesn't really want crit; she can do a little bit of damage, but not much. And of course, you go Seed, not do your Seed. You Trigger. Trigger's the best support for SAnby because of the off field, and then of course Orphie is another good support, another good synergy. And then the Bangbu choice here is going to be the NEDF Bangbu, and that's just because Aftershock is Aftershock. It's just more Aftershock damage. Anyways, let's do this. Let's see how much more damage I can do for basically, I'm not going to guarantee the perfect run, but a pretty good run. So we can just start off with a dash. A weird dash.
Increase fire.
Okay, so we're still letting off the damage.
Get behind me.
Okay, so now we're going to get into the big phase here. And we want to start the big phase with SAnby now. Because we want to go to SAnby to a trigger.
The advantage.
To a SAnby, that's SAnby. Orphie, you want to use Orphie, full skill, so that's SAnby, dash 3 times, ult. Dash 3 times. Okay, that's a weird, okay, so there's actually a little bit of interesting now. So she had the little animation from the yeah, so it's a little bit harder now to set up. So you see that she has a little dash now. This is cool, I guess. This is actually cool. So we're gonna ult here because well,
right on cue.
we're gonna back up to SAnby, and we're gonna go back into the break phase. And back into the break phase.
Target exposed.
Trigger, go SAnby, back to Orphie. And go dash 3 times. Back to 3 ults. Man, look at that damage. What, 30,000 damage? Whoa.
Now hit target locked. Supporting position.
Trigger here.
Down steady.
Back to SAnby here.
What you deserve.
And dash. And dodge that. And dodge that one too. And dash this. Start skill. And then we're gonna also do the break phase again. And we got my break here. Go to trigger again. Back to SAnby. Back to Orphie. Damage. Dash to SAnby. Dash to SAnby. Dash 3 times. Dash 2 times.
Feel it.
And we go back to Orphie.
Right on cue.
Back to SAnby. Ult to SAnby because we're out of time. Nope.
Sniper's Creed.
Risky.
One shot, one kill.
That's a little bit unlucky. Sometimes the boss does that. So, gonna dash that.
What you deserve. Crossfire!
Okay, back
The
into
target's
Big Fit
exposed.
again.
Dual referendum.
SAnby. Orphie.
Down static.
Alright. There we go. Pretty good run. And we got a pretty good 40-something thousand K. So it's like a 20% damage difference. 48,000, so it's like a 20% damage difference. Why would I say so? Why is it okay? Why did the score went from 45,000 to 48,000? Why did it seem like a 20% damage difference? Well, because damage score actually scales inversely. So the higher up you go in damage, right? The more HP the boss have, the less damage score you get. So what it means, like it's impressive. Going from 45,000 to 48,000, you got 3,004 points. It seems like a 10% bonus, but in reality, it's way more than that. 10% seems pretty low, but you had to also take into account like bosses take more damage, or bosses take way more. They take way more stats. Yeah. So there's a disintegration setup. Okay, I'll talk about that later. So 9.99 score. Okay. So for the final thoughts of SAnby, as I showed you in my live demonstration, Soldier Zero Anby is really strong now. That's actually like on another level of like okay, with all the perfect buffs and everything, that's 48k points. Like that is like probably when we have a boss that's like pretty normal, right? That's not particularly very good for SAnby. Like that's not like perfectly made for like Corruption Complex. You can probably reach 40,000 with this Aftershock team without even trying, right? And then like the extra attack that we saw, right? The extra very special attack where she did her like I think called what's it called? I forget what it's called. But when she does that extra little attack, it delays your net skill a little bit, so it's a little bit hard to kind of manage it. But as you get used to it, I already got used to it very quickly because I figured out like, okay, it's just more damage to stack on. Anyways,
Number 0.
if you have any questions about SAnby, please let me know about like how to play SAnby. Like if you want like a full guide about SAnby, how to play the Aftershock teams, so SAnby, Orphie, and Trigger.
I am the Eye of Oval.
Please let me know. If you want to talk about like, if you want more in-depth information about SAnby, please let me know, and I'll make more in-depth as I get much better and I get more and more accustomed. So I wish everyone the best of luck. SAnby feels pretty good now with all her buffs, and in the end, I hope she actually stays the poster child of this game. So yeah, I wish everyone the best of luck, and then of course, I guess how to end it with a pun. I guess stay shocked. Anyways, good luck. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.
Leave it to me, Anby. Ether vision activated. Right on cue. What you deserve. Out balance. Now you can. Press the advantage. Dual left landing. Result. Keep focused. What you deserve. Wide open. It's time. What you believe it? Sniper's Creed. One shot, one kill. Down strategy. The target's exposed. Current overload. Adjusting for wind. Right on cue. What you deserve. Now you pay. Press the advantage. Dual left landing. Relay combat! We won't back down. This bullet will reach its mark. Sound strategy. Time to pin them down. Now you pay. What you deserve. Outbalance. The melody of combat. Mind overload. Time to end. Tactical strategy. Torch them! Fight him off. Leave it to me, Anby. Recalibrating. Now you pay. Supporting position. The target's exposed. Current overload. Relay combat! Right on cue. Loyalty. Keep focused. Tactical strategy. Torch them! Now you pay. My bullets are one with the wind. Roger that. Wipe them out. Relay combat! Down strategy. Resolve. Adjusting for wind. Target center! Insert! What's the nice cover fire? Dual left landing. Time to end this. Right on cue. We won't back down. Sniper's Creed. One shot, one kill. Time to pin them down.
Maximum firepower!
Down strategy. Fire support ready. Now you pay out. Time to end this. Leave it to me, Anby. Adjusting for wind. Thank you. Now you pay. It's time. Get behind me. You're out, press the advantage. Current overload. Loyalty. Keep focused. Got your cover.
Tactical strategy! Torch down!
Down strategy. It's time. My bullets are one with the wind. Time to pin them down. The target's exposed. Dual electro-ending. Right on cue. I won't back down. The target's recovered. Stay alert. Outbound. Show no mercy. It's time. What you deserve. Press the advantage. Current overload. Sniper's Creed. One shot, one kill. Down strategy. Holding position.
Maximum firepower!
Resolve. Now you can. What you deserve. Vital bit. Target locked. The target's exposed. Dual electro-ending. Leave it to me, Anby. Ether vision activated. Right on cue. Now you can. Out balance. Don't mind me. It's time. Now you can. Time to pin them down. The target's exposed. Do what I found him. Relay combat! Down static. Loyalty. Keep focused. This bullet will reach its mark. Get in position. What you deserve. Wait a minute.
Tactical strategy. Torture!
Right on cue. Press the advantage. Current overload. Relay combat! Resolve. Now you can. Adjusting for wind. The target's exposed. Do what my friend is. Relay combat! Down static. He won't back down. Now you can. My bullets are one with the wind. Wide open. You're in.
Maximum firepower!
Right on cue. Time to pin them. Now you can. Increase firepower. Press the advantage.
Untitled Chapter.